Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and we're only 5 puzzles away from Christmas now. So we've got 5 golden rings today. You can see what looks like almost like a magician mesmerizing the entire court, including what looks like a fox there in the bottom left. Yeah, that's too fluffy a tail to be a cat. With the 5 golden ring that this magician has brought. Anything else I want to mention before I get started? So, yeah, I think you've heard previously, excuse the beard. Maybe I am working on becoming Father Christmas himself. Although that would be quite a beard to try and grow within a handful of days. Shall we take a look at the puzzle? Let's do that. So, 5 golden rings by Willpower. And we've got another variant today. The man's creativity has no bounds. Now, I'll take you through the rules that I understand, and then I'm going to give you my interpretation of the new variant. And hopefully I'll be on the right track and it won't be quite the mess that it was yesterday with 6 geese a laying. So 5 golden rings, you can see them very clearly outlined here. Ring 1, ring 2, 3, 4. I'm kind of wondering if that's where the whole Olympic rings came to be. Although I think that it's supposed to be after the number of continents where there are participants from, and each continent has its own color, I believe. But maybe it is rooted in this, I guess, biblical story. Right, what do we have here? So normal Sudoku rules apply. So place the digits 1 to 9, as you know, in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box without any repeats. We also have an anti-king rule today. So the same number cannot be a chess moves apart, king's chess move apart. So for example, if this was a 2, under normal Sudoku rules, this can be a 2. But today's rules with anti-king, obviously a king can actually move that way, diagonally, that is not allowed. So watch out for that. Secondly, cell ranking. This is the bit that I'm still not entirely sure I fully understood. So a cell's rank is equal to the number of golden lines that go to the center of the cell. So example, row 5, column 5, this is this cell, has 6 lines that go to its center. And you can see that I think the way Will is counting that is essentially whichever line enters and gets to the center, that's one line. Even though it's really one line that you can see here, I'm almost tempted to draw it. You can see that there's really one line going that way. But regardless, I think Will is saying that you should count sort of the edge to the center as 1, the edge to the center as 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Right, so that's the cell rank. And then within each of the 9 3x3 boxes, cells with a higher rank will always be a higher number than cells with a lower rank. So I'm interpreting this to mean that this cell, which is 6, has to have a higher digit than this cell, which is, I'm going to say is 3. I'm going to give it some middling color, yellow. And this cell has to be higher than this one, which I'll say is blue, because it's got 2 lines going into the center. And if I just, go around coloring this, and I'm almost certain this is going to be a plan to really make a dent in this, it kind of gives you that this cell is now bigger than all of these are lower than all of these, etc., etc., etc. So really interested to see how this plays. Last thing I should have mentioned, actually. Now, within each of the 9 3x3 boxes, so I don't think that means that this cell is larger, let's say, than this one. Essentially, this coloring pattern, this 3 colors, you end up repeating in each of the other boxes. And I don't think there is a relationship between box 1 and box 5 in terms of ranks. Ranks only apply within the box. Emphasis on the within. And then lastly, cells with no golden lines can be any number. And I guess that means that doesn't have to be the 9, because I can put the 9 in one of these. That will be fine as well. Right, what else do we have? We got KROPKI pairs, Numbers with a white dot between them are consecutive. Many of you are going to be familiar with this. If that's a 2, that would be 1 or 3 to be consecutive because there's a white dot joining these two cells. We also have numbers with a black dot between them are in a ratio of 2 to 1. So if I pick this ratio here, if that was the 2, that could be a 1 or 4 as in literally 2 to 1, or 4 as in 2 times 2 is 4. As long as one is double the other, you're good on the black dots. Now, not all possible dots are given, so nothing stops me from doing something like this. That doesn't require a white dot between them, or this. That doesn't require a black dot between them. Oh, excuse me, there is one more rule. It just doesn't have a title, which is the killer cage. And there are only 2 cages today. Numbers in the cages summon a number to the top left corner of the cage. Thankfully today they are unique digits because they're in the same row. So these 2 cells have to add up to 14, and these 2 cells have to add up to 14. Well, that's all the rules we have for today. If you're not intimidated or mesmerized by these golden rings, you can play along with the link in the description down below as usual. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So I think I am genuinely going to color these as I did earlier. And I'm going to do this on a per box basis. So this one has 4 lines, that's the highest. These have 2 lines, that's the lowest. These are all basically the same, so they can be whatever they want to be. This has to be the higher, which is actually very helpful in a 14 cage. That means that this is the 8 or 9, and this is the 5 or 6. There's only 2 ways of making 14. It's 6-8 or 5-9. I know that this is the lower digit in the 2 cages. I don't necessarily know that this is true in this 14 cage, but whatever this cell is, I know that it's at least bigger than 2 others. But I don't think it guarantees that this has to be 8 or 9. So I will not pencil mark it as such. These are all I'm going to go with blue. They only have 2 lines going through them. In fact, this entire box is all the same. This definitely has a larger cell, which is this one that has 4 lines. This is 4. These are 4. These are all blue. That's 4. These are all 2, I believe. And that's all the ring cells colored. So I think I need to focus here. Do I need to focus here? I mean, I should focus here, but actually I just spotted something. 8, 9, 5, 6. If this is a 6, this would be 5 or 7, which clearly cannot be on a black Kropki dot. 5 times 2 is too big, that's 10. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. Doesn't work, this is a non-integer number. So this has to be the 5. This has to be the 9. This is now 4 or 6. And if it's 6, it's fixed at 3. If it's 4, it's 2 or 8. Which gives me a 6-8 pair here. And I really wish the fact that this is red and this is blue tells me that this is the 8 and this is the 6, but I don't think that's strictly correct. Of course, I've got a 2-4 in here. I'm going to skip my usual explanation of this. If I get more regular subscribers, I will go through the usual explanation, but you know, with 3-6, it just wouldn't work in here. These are the only set of digits that would work on 3 black Kropki dots. What else can I do that's easy to spot? I mean, 2, 3, 8. So many options. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 9. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm not pencil marking that. Right. The minimum this cell is 7, because it's bigger than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cells. So this is 7, 8, or 9. This is the smaller of the 2. So this is 6, 7, or 8, and it's adjacent, if you remember. So it's 1 away from whatever this cell is. This cell, because it's on a black dot, should be interesting, and I just need to think through it a bit more. So, I mean, the question that's in my mind is, what is the largest digit I can put in this cell? And I know that at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 digits are bigger. So that could be 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. The biggest I can put in here is a 4. So I can go as high as 4. And because this is the larger digit than whatever is in here, that could be, I don't think it can be 1, 2, because that's implying that there is another digit that is smaller than 2 and not 1. So 1 and 2 go away. 2, 4 still works. 3, 6 works. I'm kind of wondering if 4, 8 does. Because essentially, if that's 4 and that's 8, that's going to have to be 9. It has to be bigger than 8. And then I need another adjacent digit that is apparently not 8 because I've already used it in the box. So I think 8 and 4 go away as a possibility. It's just 2, 3. I should have mentioned, I did actually take a look at the difficulty rating of this puzzle. This is 2 stars. And I can tell you it's playing like one. There's nothing that obvious about what I'm doing at all. So the only place 9 can be in this box is in one of these 2 cells. It would be really helpful to figure out which one it is. I don't think there's any way of forcing this. Now remember, I did say the maximum the blue cells can be is 1, 2, 3, 4. We went through the fact that there is 5 digits that are at least larger, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So I can do 1, 2, 3, 4. And this has to be 1 larger, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I think I'm going to have the same trouble with 1 and 2. If that's 1 and that's 2, what is this digit? So 1 and 2 are out. And in fact, of the 2 digits, because this is immediately linked to a yellow digit, this has to be the bigger one of these 2 digits. So if this was the 2, that would be 3, and then I've broken this cell. If that's 3, that would be 4, and again I've broken the cell. In fact, this is actually forced. This is not 2. And if I go with 3, that has to be 4, and then this would be 2, and this would be 4 again. So this is fixed, this is 4, this is 5, this is therefore 6, this is 3, this is not 6, I've used it, and therefore this is not 7. I also need to put 1 and 2 now. Where can 1 and 2 go? And they have to be less than the 3 and 4, and it can't be in any of the yellow cells, it can only be in here, forcing this finally to be a 9, this to be an 8. That forces with the anti-king move for this to be a 6, and this to be an 8. And this to be a 7. We have a break-in, finally. No influence whatsoever, though, on what this is. It's not an 8, though, because 8 can only be adjacent to 7 and 9, and they're both gone. So that's not 8. That's 2 or 3. Six, 3. I mean, that can be 2 and 4. 5, 4, 2. That could be 1 and 3. That's, don't know if I really want to pencil mark this, but I'm going on fumes here. I'm going to stick with it. I think what I should focus on is probably the boxes where there are different colors. And I'm tempted more with boxes 7 and 8 because they have more KROPKI dots to help me along. That's what I'm thinking, and I'm sticking to it. So let's have a think around. So 9 has to be in. So 9, not in these cells, can't be in blue because we've got reds still. So one of these has to be the 9. And I'm actually sort of tempted to think 8 has to be in there as well, because I can't put 8 in one of these blue cells. Yeah, I'm liking where this is going. Because if I put 8 in one of these, what is between 9 and 8 that would go in these red cells? So this is an 8 pair. And I'm pretty sure this is a 7. because I need to put the 6 and it will be in one of the blue cells, mind you. So where am I going to put the 7? If the 6 is in a blue cell, the 7 has to be higher than the 6. And now I can have, well, 6 is now forced onto the black crop kit. I was there all along with Sudoku. Just needed to pay attention. And we're making good progress here. So what is this cell? It's not 9, 8, 7, 6. It can actually be 4, 5. Or 1, it can't be 1, 2 because that would break this cell. And 3 is not available. So it is in fact fixed. It is 4, 5. And now this is another 1, 2. We now know what these cells are. This is 3, 4, 5, I'm going to say. Except that's not 5. That's clearly not 5 on a black Kropki dot. That is the 5. That's the only place that's left for it. If that's a 6, sorry, if that's a 3, that would be a 6, which it can't be. Already placed a 6. So that's a 4 with, I'm going to say it can actually be an 8. And the reason I'm saying it can be an 8 is I don't have any yellow or red cells in this box. So it doesn't have the same sort of restriction. This is a 3. Interesting. I mean, I should be heading west from here and thinking about box 7. That was the other one that was tempting me, but just maybe worthwhile just thinking through all the options in here. Maybe a bit of Sudoku would help. So 4s and 5s are sorted. There's an 8, 9 that's not there. It is just 1, 8, 9. That's the challenge. Otherwise it would have been a... Yeah, so where is 9 actually in this box? It's not here. Again, you need to use the anti-king move. This cell sees it with king's move. These are not 9s. That's not 9. None of these are 9. 9 is definitely up here, giving me an 8 and a 9. Meaning the 8 now is definitely on this side, and it's not this cell. One of these is an 8. I mean, highly likely it's this one, but that would be 7. That's fine. It's not a problem. What else do I need to place still? So I placed, I mean, the 1s and 2s. What about 7? 7 is also up here, but I can go there. It's not a problem. Yeah. Maybe time to move on and think about box 7 now. Sorry, I'll think out loud. I'm just thinking, what is the minimum this cell can be? Because 9 and 8 are gone. And we have to have 3 cells that are at least smaller than it. So the minimum this can be is 4. But it's not 5. It could be 6, and it can be 7. So it's actually reasonably restricted. But 7 on a black Kropki dot doesn't work. So it's a 4, 6. We've got a 4, 6 pair in a column. If that's 6, that's 3. If that's 4, that's 2. We've got a 2, 3 pair in the column now. Again, it has to be that way because, you know, the larger cell is in here. And I think 4, 2 is too small, isn't it? Well, I could do 3, 6. There's a white dot here. So I'll explain what I'll finish that thought, and then I think it's answered my question. If I go with 4 and 2, I'm going to just write this in. This has to be 1 or 3. Well, it can't be 1 because that would require another 2. So I'd have to have a 3 in here. And then how am I doing this white dot? And obviously this would have to be the 1. So I think that answers the question. This is 6. This is 3. This is 6. This is 3. This is now 2 or 4. And this gives me all of these now. That's 1 or 3, and this has to be the 4. This is a lovely puzzle. It's coming along. Now I need something that is a multiple. Feels like it's got to be 2, 4 to be connected to the 3. But actually, I could do it the other way around. I could do 4, 2 to connect to the 3. That still works. 4s are lining up, I can see. So there's a 4 in here. Can I do anything with this? Probably. 2, 4, that's a 1. Already said that before. Doesn't fix the 2, 4 because with 6, hang on, that could have been a 5. Ignore what I just did. That's 1 or 5, because again, it needs to be less than 6, and it's not 2, 3, or 4. But 5 is unfortunately still available. Right, this run here, I know it doesn't include the 1. I also know it doesn't include the 5, because 4 and 6 are not available. For the 1, the 2 is not available. So this is another 1, 5, and now we have a run of 7, 8, 9. That's a 7. Looking at these two cells, that's the 7, that's the 8, that's the 9. I think I already said this once, but this is a lovely puzzle. That's got to be a 7. 5's not available. I think we probably have enough to think about this triple over here. See, it's quite ironic that 9 is actually going to end up on a blue cell in here. But yeah, there's no restrictions because they're essentially all the same rank. So I've got 2, 4 lining up. 2, 4 has got to be up there. This has to be the 4, because there's a 4 in here removing this possibility. Now, I guess I can do 4, 8, and a 2. So 2, 4, 8 works. Of course, the other possibility of this is 4, 2, and a 1. And that still seemingly works because we've actually got a 1, 8 pair at the end, a 2, 4 in here. Then the remaining cells are 3, 6, and 7, seemingly. That's not 7. This is a 3, 6. And these are a definite 7 with 3, 6, and 7. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't resolve the 2, 8. It does tell me this is not a 6. It doesn't tell me a lot more. The 2 can join the 3, and the 7 can join the 8. May have to think about this this white dot next, but yeah. I'm already thinking about it, but not actually externalizing my thoughts. So I'm just I'll leave it for a second and just have a look elsewhere. Again, there's just not that many clues, it feels like. Where am I going with this? I mean, maybe worthwhile looking up box 9, because the minimum this can be is a 4. But now, I mean, I can have 7, presumably. Yeah, I could do 4, 5, or 7. Not 5, because 1, 5 takes it out. 6, 9, and 8, all not available. So this is a maximum of 7. In fact, it's just 4 or 7. Now, if that's 4, this is 1, 2, 3. Can I even do that? Because actually, I've got a 2 in here. That's a 2, that's a 1. That would force this to be a 3. That would force this to be a 2, and that would force this to be a 1. And seemingly, that's okay. Seemingly. So 4 is actually still on the table. Now actually, regardless, because this is now a 3, 4, 7 triplet, that's got to be the 3, 4. This is any of them. What else can I do in here? 4, I mean, 5 is available. For the 7, 8 is available. It's not helping my cause right now. In here, yeah, a tough one. I need 1 of 2, 5, and 8, and 9. So I'll write those in. And in here, I think the white dot might save me, because I need a 1 in this row. And I could either do 1, so essentially, I have a 4 between these. I have a 2, 5, a 1 and a 6. So unfortunately, 5, 6 with a 1 seemingly works. The other possibility is 1, 2 with a 6 seemingly works. Incredible. This is not 8 or 9, because we know the maximum in the red cell is 7, and this is 2 or 5. So you can see 1, 2, and 3 are still available, forcing a 4 in here. 6, 5, and 4 with a 7 in here still works. It's just, you have to think it's deliberate by willpower to make it, that this is not the way to resolve it. It's going to have to come from this white dot, of all things. Wow. Okay. Let's think a bit harder. Let's see what else we're going. So what else do I need to place in here? I need a 6. Don't know where that is. I need an 8. I do know where this is. It's one of these two cells. I need a 9. It's one of these two cells. Then the rest is fairly loose. I mean, 5 is not in any of these, in fact. 5 is in one of these cells. And in fact, because of this 5, it sees all of these. It's not that. This 5 sees this. This is the 5. That gives me a 9. That gives me a 1. That gives me a 5. That gives me a 3. That gives me a 6. It was unexpected. Now I can finish this with 1, 8. And you can see the 1 and 8 are not in here, because that's 1, 2, and 8. And a last digit, which is a 6, I believe. Yep. I know what these are now. This is 3, 5, and 7, I'm going to say. I have a 1, 8 in here with a 4 and a 6. Sorry, a 1, 8 with a 4 or 6. Well, the 1 is definitely not in here, nor the 8, because it needs to be connected to the 3, 5, 7. But 4 and 6 certainly can connect to any of 3, 5, and 7. Then I have another 1, 8, not a 5 anymore. Yep, this is an 8. This is a 7, which doesn't help me. I didn't mean to do that. This doesn't help, because it leaves all of these options on the table. But, it's a digit 8. That's a 9. That's there. While I'm sure some of you are shouting at your screen saying, Sleuth, just look down, see it. That 8 gives me the 1, the 8, which doesn't help me with the 1, 2. I really still don't know what these are since the start of the puzzle. I do know that this is a 2 and a 9. That's the 9. That's the 2. Doesn't help me with my 1, 3, etc. This is 4, 6. I do know what these are now. This is 1, 4, and 6. And this is 3, 5, 7. Not helpful. And the ranking isn't helpful. Right, 7 would require a 6 or 8. It's not a 7. 5 would require 6 or 4. 4 is available. A 3 would require 2 or 4. And 2, 4, we have a 2, 4 pair in row 3. And now this is 1, 7. Incredibly, still not resolved. Will, what are you doing to us? Up here we have a 1, 2 with a 9. How have I got, yeah, because that's still 1, 2. Just looking at this and thinking there's just too many options. 2, 8 and a 1, 7. That's 4 options, but it's because one of the cells is not filled. Right. This white dot is basically the last thing that can help us here. So this is 1, 2, 7, or 8. Well, it's not 7, And it's not 1, it's 2 or 8. We've got a 2-8 pair. That's a 1. That's a 2. That's a 7. That's a 1. That's not 1. This has to be the 1. Is this how it all comes together? Maybe. I must have broken something. I must have. Because that looks to me like not something I can resolve. Maybe, if that's a 2 and that's a 4, so maybe I can resolve it from something down here. So maybe I haven't broken anything just yet. You know, iffy is how I would summarize it. Right, I really didn't think about this when I wrote in all these options, so it may be worthwhile coming back to this for a second. Anything else I want to think about? Yeah, I just don't see how Sudoku would help me with so many unfilled boxes. So, right, 1 and 2 would give me 6, 4, 5, 4, 2, 5, and all of that seemed to work just fine. Even better, 1s, that is a 1. That's not 1 or 2, that's 5 or 6, that's 4, that's 5, that's 4, that's 2. That's a 2. This is still a 3, 4. That's okay. That 2 gives me this 4, which annoyingly doesn't help with the 3 or 5. Okay. And no pressure exerted on the 3 or 4. Oh, so at least I have to be looking upwards now. 7 looking, oh, come on. Anti-king, anti-king. 2, 8, 7, 1, 8, 4, 2. Not 2 anymore. This is 1 and 9. And I know the order. In fact, it's not pencil mark. That's the 9. That's the 1. Do I have any more anti-king moves I've been ignoring all of this time? Yes, that's a 4. That's a 3. Anything else? That's not a 7. Doesn't exactly help, but I'll take it. That is a 7. The 4s and 6s. Yeah, that's a 6. That's a 4. That's a 5 now. That's a 3. 5s and 6s. Seemingly not, but this is at the finish line pretty much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 6, 7, 8. I think I've got 6 and 8 in here. Yeah, that's 7. I've got 7 and 8. That's 6. And that's 8. How did I write 8 again? 9 I meant. Let's try that again. Sloppy sleuth, come on. Not 6. Not 7. Not 9. Not 7 or 9, in fact, that is 6, that is 9, that is 7. Better. Which gives me the 5 and the 6. Now, to finish, I need 2, 3, and 5. The 2 goes here, the 3 goes here. If I've not made any other mistakes, that's the 5 and the finish today's puzzle. Beautiful construction, Will. Another new variant. And I imagine the vast majority of my struggles were probably down to the fact that I just was refusing to use the anti-king for the vast majority of this solve, which I can see you've got in uppercase letters, so people should pay attention to it. Well, phenomenal puzzle. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Certainly looking forward to your comments about the slower solve again. And see you back for the next one. Bye for now.